Okay, so we're live. Welcome back to the Mountain Minds podcast. I'm Matt Burke. Right, what happened last time? Where were we at? Paddy Brosnan, what a man, what an interview. Thanks so much for all the feedback. I'm really delighted that people loved it. I absolutely loved it. We had the crack. Full of knowledge, full of learning, full of fucking just life. You know, I loved it. One of my favourite podcasts of all time, you know. I do have my favourites, but that's like saying that I have favourite kids, and we all know we can't say that. But no, it was absolutely brilliant. I love him. I really got him, and we had the crack, as they say, and that's important to me, you know. It's about delivering a specific message, but then it's also about real life, having a crack, sadness, happiness, anxiety, blah blah. It's just embracing all of life, and I really appreciate that about him. He's a good guy, absolutely great guy, great book. So yeah, where are we at today? Yes, I have a friend of mine, Laurence Carpenter. Laurence has a company called Pop Icon. They do pop memorabilia, but kind of the high end stuff. You know, he's dealing with the likes of Michael Jackson hats, big bucks, you know, Lady Gaga outfits, all this kind of stuff. Pop memorabilia. Really sound guy, but I love the journey that he was on, and I know him a little while now from playing football and just meeting up for a chit chat, so I know the kind of life that he leads. So it's not just about the Pop Icon stuff, the company that he's set up. I wanted to look at his whole life and where that led him to today and where he's gonna go on in the future, and he's got a lot of exciting business ideas in the pipeline, so I definitely think we'll have him back on again. But this podcast, this interview was brilliant. I loved it. I loved the stories that he told, the business, how it developed, how he kept it all to himself. He's a very private person, but he's got this steely personality underneath all that, and he's very unassuming. So I really enjoyed the podcast. There was loads of learning, loads of life experience I could take away from that. And the thing about these interviews, right, a lot of these great people that I speak to, whether it's in education, whether it's in business, whether it's any kind of life, they're all very transferable, these skills that they have, you know, and that comes to fruition when I sit down with the likes of Paddy Brosnan, Laurence Carpenter, or any of the doctors I spoke to, any of the patients. A lot of these life skills just keep repeating themselves, and hopefully from listening to this interview that you can pick up on that. Really inspirational guy, really motivational, and every time I meet up for him for a coffee or a chat, I always leave the conversation after gaining so much, whether it's about my own life, how I'm going to change things in my own business, in my own life. So like even those little conversations are inspirational to me. So this interview for me was very inspirational. So hopefully you enjoy it as much as I did. So yeah, that's the crack. What else is going on? Look, how's Christmas going for you? How are you getting on? Did you have a good time? Did you drink like fuck? Did you eat like fuck? The silly season's upon us, and we're nearly through it. So hopefully you're minding your little self. Hopefully you're, as Laurence says in this, eat, sleep, connection, exercise. You know, these are the main ingredients to participating in a healthy lifestyle, whatever it is that's for you. Don't be governed though by the tyranny of you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Do what's beneficial for you and doesn't cause you harm and makes you happy, is what I say, you know. So mind your little self, and as always, thanks to Doyle from Rooney Media Graphics, Shannon's Hopeline, Sandra and Lisa, absolute legends, Mental Health Warriors, Andy that has joined our team, Andy from libertiesphotos.ie. If you need any photographs taken for weddings, communions, confirmations, birthday parties, business, web design, check out that fantastic website, libertiesphotos.ie. He's on the podcast. I'm fucking blown away by his professionalism for building our website, which I think will be released really soon. So I'm delighted with the work he's doing there, and he's just really diligent and professional. So if that's the kind of person I look for, check out libertiesphotos.ie. So look, mind your little self and have a fantastic day and enjoy the interview. Oh, by the way, please send us some feedback regarding our interviews. If that's on iTunes, Facebook, I'm on Facebook, Matt Burke, or Magic Minds podcast. We're on Instagram, we're on social media as in Twitter, we're right across, so all feedback is welcome. Mind your little self, boy. Welcome back to the Magic Points podcast. I'm Matt Burke. On the show today, I am joined by a friend, Laurence Carpenter. Laurence, what's the crack?
Hey Matt, how are you?
Living the dream, Laurence. What about you?
Yeah, we're living the dream at the moment as well. Yeah. God, yeah.
Living our best life, as they say.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Guys, I've asked Laurence to come on the show today. Laurence has a company called Pop Icon. Pop Icon is an online business where he buys and sells pop memorabilia, am I right?
Yeah, high-end music memorabilia.
High-end, ladies and gentlemen.
High-end, yeah.
I like it. Deadly. I was having a look at your website today. It's absolutely savage.
Yeah. The website is like, I kind of created a website because I felt like everybody needs a website. But lots of my business is kind of done behind the scenes in private, you know. So most of my business kind of, nobody knows what I'm buying and selling. You know, yeah.
Sounds very ominous. I like it. This is the kind of shit we need in the flats. No one knows what we're doing. We're all the only way selling on a bit of buying.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I love it. So yeah, I know we same as ourselves. We're building a website now. It's a place for people to see where we are, check out what we're doing. But like ourselves behind the scenes, we've lots going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, it's high end music memorabilia, and I suppose like when the high end bit is like really means like really unique and rare pieces of memorabilia. So like to give you an example, I sold last year the last guitar Prince ever used on stage. Yeah, so it's not like a signed album or anything like that. It's really iconic pieces.
Deadly.
And the reason I specialise in those pieces, when like I started my business 10 years ago, but I've been kind of doing it the majority of my life, you know, as a hobby. So like just before I started the business, I kind of made a decision. I was like, do I sell 1,000 autographs to 1,000 different people, 1,000 different transactions, 1,000 possible problems, or do I sell one item and make the same money from selling one item as I would 1,000 items, and only have one transaction, one sale, one purchase, and less work, more time to myself, because I can make more money in less time. So that was the route I decided to go down, the more difficult route, trying to find those unique pieces, but in the long run it was more valuable when it came to having more time.
Brilliant. So take us back a bit. Bring us back. Where did it start? Where did the brainchild come from?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I have a diary at home from like when I was, 16, 17, and I wrote down a business idea, and I've been writing down business ideas for years, like, and I'd call me mum, and I'd share my business. So I used to always share my business ideas with my mother, and she was a great sounding board. But this business idea I thought of like many decades ago, and I just found a diary like last year, and it was pretty much the business I set up 10 years ago. I had wrote down in a diary like 30 years ago, or no, probably 25 years ago. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Can I just to go back there? Why is your man so significant as a sounding board? Just Irish mammies and all that. What was it that was so beneficial by her? Did she give it to you straight? Was it honest? Was it insightful? Is she knowledgeable in that kind of trade? What was the?
Yeah, I suppose what comes to mind when you ask the question is that there wasn't that initial, like, no, when you ever share an idea with someone and they kind of knock it straight away, or they say, oh yeah, but what about the logistics? Like, how are you going to sort out the premises? And these kind of responses that can kind of dampen the excitement, or just the vision that you're trying to present to someone, and you're like, I'll sort out the nitty gritty later, just let me share this bit. I mean, mother would always just listen and she'd get excited with me. So it was like the opposite, she'd jump on board with me and get excited, and like most times it wouldn't actually materialise into anything, but she just believes in me, and has faith in me. She's still around, thank God. And that still stands to this day.
Savage. Yeah. And it's funny that you and I were just talking outside in the sitting room there earlier. We were saying about our thoughts become our reality. So you wrote this down all these years ago,
Yeah.
and then subconsciously you've been meandering and following a path that's brought you today, which you had wrote down so many years ago.
I know, yeah. It's funny because there was a massive gap of like probably 15 years where when I was a teenager, I used to collect anything I had a passion for, like soccer or TV programs. I collected something to do with it, and I got that from my father. He was a collector, and my sister was a collector. She collected like movie memorabilia and records and things like that. So it was in the family. But when I kind of was getting close to 20 years of age, I decided that I wasn't going to be so materialistic anymore and be putting all my energy into objects. So I stopped collecting, and I kind of just went out and tried to live my life, you know.
Dolly Parton 9 to 5.
Yeah. And yeah, so like for like, I don't know, for about 10 years I wasn't doing anything to do with collecting or anything in that realm. And then it was like when I was around 30 years of age, I had this idea for a business, but it was in a particular scenario where I was like just the perfect storm to motivate me to go with this idea I had, because just quite briefly at the time it was the recession was just starting, 2008, 2009. I had convinced some company down in Navan to take me on as their national sales manager, and I blagged my way into the job. I remember in the interview with the CEO, we flew over from the UK to interview me, and he was asking me how much I wanted, and I told him how much I wanted, and he was like, there's no way I'm paying you that money. So he said, I'm going to pay X amount, and I was like, no, I just eyeballed him. And it felt like an eternity. I was just sitting there and I thought, I'm not going to fucking say anything. And eventually he caved in and he gave me what I wanted. But I couldn't really live up to what I was...
yeah, you bit up more than you can chew.
Yeah,
I'm dying to ask, what figure did you ask him?
I was like 45 grand or something.
How long ago was that?
And it came with a Land Rover and...
Oh, fuck that! Actually, you might look over
It
it.
was a lot of money compared to what I was on. It was like an extra 10... Probably an extra like 10, 15 grand. Yeah, so it was a massive jump from my last job. And after a few months I was like, oh, I can't do this. I don't have the technical know-how to sell the product, you know.
Yeah.
So, but at that time I had taken a loan out to buy some properties abroad in Finland, of all places. So
Why Finland?
yeah, I had a friend who bought some properties over there, so it was based on trusting trusted him. So it's a good way sometimes to go about making decisions. If you trust someone, they've done all the legwork, you just jump on their coattails. So I'd taken a loan out of the bank. I had bought this property, and I was stressed out in the job to the extent that I quit the job. And but I quit the job while I had this loan, and the loan was quite a short-term loan for a lot of money, so the monthly payments were like astronomical, you know. But I had some money saved in the bank, so I left the job purely for my mental health, and I was paying back this loan. And around that time, 2009, Michael Jackson was doing some gigs over in London, like 50 gigs he had sold out in the O2. And at that time, just before those gigs sold out, there was this big auction taking place in Los Angeles, and they had brought all the memorabilia from Los Angeles to Newbridge Silverware. There's a memorabilia museum up there. And so it was on the radio that there was a Michael Jackson. I know Michael Jackson is a bit taboo now at the moment, but this is 10 years ago, like.
Yeah.
And though he was no saint then either, but look, it's MJ, so
yeah,
it's a weird one. So he was doing this exhibition. There's a bit of a weird element because I sold Michael Jackson memorabilia, so it's this funny one. Nowadays I'm like,
would you not buy any more now, Michael Jackson?
No,
or does it sell?
No, I wouldn't. It does sell, but no, I wouldn't. I've got rid of all my Michael Jackson memorabilia, and I won't be buying anymore. Like, I just don't feel comfortable. But back.
I took down my posters the other day.
Used
In
to
Michael
like-
Jackson posts. I bought me t-shirts. I can still do the moves though. You all never lose that.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I'm getting off the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt a bit. I felt a bit weird saying it. Yeah, I could feel my face going red and all. Me even mentioned Michael Jackson's name.
Absolutely. It could be worse. It could be R. Kelly or something.
Yeah. So so there was this big auction taking place. They had the exhibition in Newbridge. So it was on the radio that there was this big exhibition happening, and it was to do with an auction that was going to take place in LA.
Yeah.
So the auction took place, and because of my interest in memorabilia and Michael Jackson was all on the radio because he was doing these concerts, I instinctively, out of habit, kind of went online to look for memorabilia. And I heard the auction results, and some stuff in the auction sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And at that time, I was really stuck for money because I owed money to the bank and blah blah blah. I was in a really tough financial situation, and I had like a 5-year plan made out to pay back the money to the bank. It was like a prison sentence. It felt like on paper. I was like, this is gonna take me 5 years to pay the money back. And then I had a look at the auction results, and I seen that one of the items that sold was a limited edition print, and it sold for $10,000. And it was a limited edition print of 1 of 500. So I thought to myself, 1 of 100. So there's 100 of these prints existed in the world. So I thought, well, if one of them's after selling for 10 grand, there's another 99 of them out there in the world. So if I can locate one of them, buy it cheap enough, well, surely I can make a profit on it. And lo and behold, I happened to find an auction taking place in, I think it was Canada, and they had this print in the auction, but they had no photographs. There's always photographs of the item, but they didn't have a photograph for some reason. They just had a description, but I knew what it was based on the description, and it was a bit of an obscure auction in Canada. So I bid on it. I got it for $500. Nobody else was bidding on the item, primarily because there was no photographs. You can't see the thing.
Yeah.
So I bought it. I got it shipped over to me, and actually the description was wrong. It was the number 1 print out of 100. So it was the very first one, and it was a special one. Yeah. So I put it up on eBay, and I sold it. I think it was like for $4.5 grand. So I made about $3.5 grand on it. So I was like, okay, there might be something here. And then I decided that I was gonna track down Michael Jackson memorabilia based on the results from that auction. So for like 12 months I was trying to buy Michael Jackson memorabilia, and I managed to get hold of 2 Michael Jackson stage worn hats and a white one. It's an interesting story because like it's not just black and white, you just see something and you buy it. It's like I had no money at the time to buy these things, right? So I was in a dilemma. So I seen that there was a stage worn hat that I could purchase, but I didn't have the money. So what happened in this instance was I was bidding on an auction on eBay for a white Michael Jackson hat, and I lost the auction. But in the picture on the listing, in the background I could see a black hat as well. So I sent a message to the guy and I said, I noticed someone else has won this lot, but I noticed that you have a second hat in the background. So I made an offer to him. I offered to buy both hats off, because I knew that the guy who won the hat wouldn't have twigged that there was a second hat in the background. It was kind of right in the background. He wouldn't notice. So I somehow convinced them to cancel the sale of the auction. This is really important bit of information, because when I tell you the end of it, you'll see why. I convinced them to not sell the hat to the winner and to sell the 2 hats to me, and I got the 2 hats for like $2.5 grand. But as I said, I didn't have the money to pay for the hats, so it was like making this deal with the guy, and then I was like, I have to go find the money now. So I got the money together, paid the guy, got the hat shipped over, contacted the auction company in LA, and I said, I have these 2 hats, I'd like to consign them to auction. And he said, yeah, ship them over to them. And every month I'd send them an email. I sent the owner of the company actually an email saying that the hat's coming up. I was very polite, like, the hat's going to be coming up for sale anytime soon. And like 6 months passed, and no, they're not coming up for sale yet. No. But they had the hats, and then there was one night I was in town on my smartphone, and I sent an email, and I got an email back saying, yeah, they're actually going to be in the next auction. So I was like, oh, thank God. And then the auction took place. I was in the house. I was in Tallinn with my mother and my sister watching the auction online. Yeah. And I had 2 hats in the auction: the black hat and the white hat. And the white hat came up first, and the estimate was like $2,000 to $4,000. And the bidding started. It went 2,000, 4,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 60,000, and that hat sold for $74,000. And I still had the black hat, and then same again with that. And my mother was in the house watching that hat, same again, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 or something sold for. Jesus. So I sold both the hats that I bought for like $2,500 for about $145,000. Jesus. Yeah, so in that one night I cleared all my debts. And not only that, I had money then, like I had a lot of money left to buy more memorabilia and really keep going.
Start going.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere, was it your mum and your sister helped you out with that deal? Did I read that somewhere?
Well, I would have been asking me whoever my father gave me a loan of money.
Deadly. Fair made you taking a risk on that. Me and you had coffee before we were having the chats about this. Do you think your history and your ticket sales and your previous life, do you think that was some of the skills applied to this kind of business deal and the deals that you want to do?
Yeah, but like there was a time when I was out of work, when I left that job because I was stressed out, I was stuck for money, and I needed money, like it was just black and white, so I was trying to sell things, and like, gosh, what did I sell? A big container. Someone contacted me from a job and said, I have a container I need to sell, one of those big haulage containers, and I ended up selling a big container. I made a few quid on that, and I was trying to buy from, I don't know, Hungary or something, some tarmac recycling machine. And I was trying to plan, how can I get off, because it's really cheap, how can I go over to Hungary and tow this thing or bring it back to Ireland and sell it. I was just trying to make money whatever way I could, so I was really hungry to make the money because I was stuck, I owed the bank money.
Yeah, but you know what, when people make judgments around these things, do you forget like the life that you had to live that led you to that position? You didn't just decide one day, I'm just going to be a ticket salesperson, whatever. You know, all the events, your life, you're growing up, blah blah. You didn't have the life that they had. You know what I mean? They say you didn't have the privilege they had, or they got opportunities. That was just your life. And I can't believe that people can make judgment around that. You know what I mean? They don't see it through your eyes. So it drives me bonkers when people talk about stigma and all that. Yeah. As my mate says to you, stigmata. All this stigmata. He says, is that when Jesus nailed to a cross and the marks on his hands? What failures are your greatest teachers in life?
What failures? Oh gosh, what failures? Well, I haven't had many failures in business, thankfully. Yeah. So just wanted to throw that out there. I haven't. I'm
bleeding deadly at business.
And it's from those experiences that I've talked about that I learned so much, and I kind of sharpened my pencil, you know. But failures, I think.
Like any kind of failures in life will always transfer into another business or a life, you know. Failures that I've had in my personal life, I can apply to my work life, my podcast. Anything springs to mind for you?
Failures, oh gosh, it's a...
Or any difficult periods?
Oh, loads of difficult periods, yeah. Too many to mention, or some difficult periods last for too long. When, in my opinion, you know, I used to bug me when people would say, what's that saying, like, you know, like, when, no matter what happens in your life, it makes you who you are. And I'd be like, yeah, I get that, but you have to suffer for so long, you know. I could have learned that lesson a lot quicker, you know.
Yeah, you not speed that fucking
yeah. Like, loneliness would have been a big thing, say, in my life for a big chunk of time. And I'd be like, I get the loneliness thing, I don't need to dwell in that any longer. And I feel like I was stuck in that type of feeling for too long. So there'd be certain things where, yeah, I'd have a bit of a gripe about my own life and certain parts that I feel like I suppose I feel like someone could have intervened and seen it and kind of approached me and said, "Is everything okay? I notice blah blah blahs." You know, someone a bit older and wiser stepping in and yeah. So that's not a failure, but I suppose it is a failure actually. It's
a difficult period in your life.
Difficult period in my life.
I don't see things as genuine failures. I just feel them as challenges, opportunities. You know, I wouldn't regard them as failure because, you know, you grow from them, so they're actually end up becoming a positive. You know what I mean? The stuff that you were talking about there, no doubt you've gone on to master that and have grown and learned from it, you know? I have, thank God, yeah. Just took a fucking long time.
Just took an awful long time. And I'm studying now, psychotherapy, so yeah, maybe as time goes on, I will look back when I'm possibly helping other people. I don't know yet if I'm going to actually do it as a profession, but that experience that I've had, those difficult times, maybe will benefit other people.
Yeah, and then when you get your psychotherapy degree, you get the mind fucked of these fucking auctioneers. You like, fucking get into that mind. I know what you're thinking, you bastards. Come here, run us through some of the most popular deals that you've done with Pop Icon. You know, I know you've Bono, Jackson, George Michael.
Yeah.
Give us some of the
most popular. I suppose like the biggest deals I've ever done would have been like with guitars. I've kind of branched now out into guitars where I used to specialise in costumes. That's what I did was I specialised in buying and selling costumes. Actually, I've a good kind of story. I was throughout setting up this business. I was working for another company at the time. So I was working like 6 days a week in a full-time job and doing my own business in the evenings and the weekends. And that way I could any money that I made in the company, I just reinvested it. I reinvested all the money for like 4 or 5 years. I didn't take a penny out of the company. That's how I could build up like a big archive of stock, valuable stock. But I remember one time when I was living up in Rackhill, had my own apartments. First time I'd ever moved out of my house, of my mother's house it was, and I was in an apartment in Rackhill on my own. And the Michael Jackson memorabilia, the value was skyrocketing down month by month. The items were selling for less and less. So I was sitting on the couch and I was thinking how I can't specialise in just Michael Jackson memorabilia because they're going down in value. So what am I going to do? I was like, okay, well I'll have to find memorabilia from other iconic artists like Bob Dylan and Lady Gaga. And I was genuinely stumped. I was like, how the hell am I going to find memorabilia from all these iconic artists, and I'm here in Dublin in Rackhill, and then I just said to myself, well, I'll figure it out. I don't know how I'm gonna figure it out, but I'll figure it out. And this was the Michael Jackson stuff I was buying on eBay, but this kind of pivotal moment of kind of questioning how am I going to move forward with the business, you know, it was like I can't continue with eBay and I need to broaden my horizon. So I did figure it out. I was getting in touch with, networking with people in Los Angeles and New York, you know, all from my apartment in Rackhill, yeah.
Exactly.
And they didn't know who I was, you know. So I did. I just got stuck into it, and I ended up focusing on costumes. So I was building up relationships with artists and stylists in Los Angeles, primarily Los Angeles, and I became like the only person probably in the world who specialised in stage-worn costumes from Lady Gaga, Rihanna, Katy Perry. You know, everything was 100% legit. They came directly from the artist or the artist's personal designer or stylist, and I was selling Lady Gaga costumes in New York and Beverly Hills. So I was going into my day job on a Monday morning, and an auction would have happened at the weekend, and I would have sold like 15 costumes from the most iconic artists in the world. I'd hear the sales results on the radio in Ireland. They'd be talking about some auction results, you know. Lady Gaga's dress sold for X amount of money, and I'd be like, oh, that's my item, but I'd never told anybody.
Did you not know?
I never told, I always kept it to myself. I just kept it private. So I'd go into work and nobody would know that any of these things. When I sold the Michael Jackson hats, I didn't tell anybody. So nobody knew anything. I just kept it to myself for a long time.
Wow.
Got a bit of a kick out of that.
Did you?
Because inside I had this kind of secret.
Yeah.
I was working away and I'm like dealing with all this. I was working for a kind of construction toolware company. It was a really manly type of job. But I was a costume specialist, specialising in female costumes. So it was such a
Are you a cross dresser? Is that what you're telling me?
I never wore any of this stuff.
Oh, that's what you're fucking saying.
So, yeah, I had like many iconic pieces of memorabilia across my hands, like from Paul McCartney's Hofner bass guitar. I sold that in New York. That was one of the top 100 most expensive guitars ever sold in the world.
Wow, what did that go for?
I've actually 2 guitars that are in the top 100 most expensive guitars ever sold. I'm hoping I'll sell the most expensive one.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the future. Yeah.
Deadly.
Yeah.
What did that guitar go for back then?
Oh, like 150 grand or something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's savage. What has been your most rewarding deal? And like outside of Michael Jackson, I made a few great, but what did you go, I can't believe I got that one, that's a whopper deal. And why?
Oh, good question. Whopper deal. Let me think. See, it's funny one because I
like even a small deal, like it doesn't have to be a big major.
Yeah,
Somebody went, I can't believe I got that bill.
Yeah, because when I was 20 years of age and I said to myself, I'm not going to do this materialistic kind of thing anymore, focus on objects. When I was creating the business, I didn't have a real attachment to the memorabilia that I was purchasing. So I suppose it was probably convincing that guy to cancel the sale of the Michael Jackson hat to the other person and somehow convincing them to sell 2 of them to me.
That was snaky.
Yeah, so like that, because that was a pivotal moment. So
brilliant.
I was really kind of sharp with how I would, kind of scheming type of mindset that I was quite I was proud of, like, because I
hustled.
I hustled my way. I really did hustle, like, I was all in private. I didn't share any of this hustling with anybody.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to, like, say, here, you never guess what I just did over the weekend. I was always kept it to myself. And I think that's a key thing, though, to the success. Because I know the times when I have shared, like, a deal that I'm doing, I've spoken to somebody halfway through it. Usually it doesn't work out then. Right. Something happens by sharing it with another person. I don't know, it changes. I think it's okay to share after it's done, but not during the process, not when I'm negotiating. Yeah.
And that kind of segues me on to my next question, and I forgot to actually ask you about this. Do you remember the deal you were telling me about when we went up to Dundrum to have the coffee?
Which one was that?
Remember your man's estate that died recently?
Oh yeah, no, that's private.
Is it?
Yeah, because it hasn't...
no, I should have said that to you beforehand.
Yeah.
Right, but we're maybe in another interview come back and talk about that.
Two.
Right, so that'll get people to hang on in here. Do you want to know about this question I have wrote down here? You have to come back. Who are your inspirations then? Do you have mentors? Like, I have mentors. They don't know my mentors. Like Aidan McCullen, I follow them, I watch the work that they do, I'm inspired by the shit that they do. Have you got people that you look up to? And it doesn't have to be in this realm, like anything you can transfer across.
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Mentor, people I look up to. Excuse me, I'm trying to think. Like a hero. Nothing's coming to mind just a moment, but I do have people I have looked up to. I have like friends. There's been moments, like people who I look up
You
to.
don't even have to name them. You can
No.
tell me why or what it is
Yeah,
about
I'll
them.
tell you. I
I
have.
just want to tap into your greatness.
Yeah. Like what kind of the moments that would stand out for me, instead of kind of picking famous people or well-known people, like it would be people who hold space for me, so I can be vulnerable or be myself. I remember as a good friend of mine, not too long ago, she hosted a meditation weekend, and she's a lovely, warm-hearted person. She's very giving, and she had this meditation weekend. I went along, and I was just we had done some meditation, some movement meditation, and I was overcome with this kind of feeling and thought of gratitude for her for creating this space so I could be myself. And I had this desire to say it to her, but I was a bit afraid like to show her. So I said it to her. I just said, I'm so grateful for you creating this space, and I feel like I could be myself. I could really be myself and just let go. And then I started to get emotional, and I put my head down, and she said, no. She said, look at me in the eye. I want to see your face. And then that moment was very special because she, looking somebody in the eye and sharing those moments is quite special, like, because it takes another person to, I don't know, create some magic, like.
Of course,
yeah,
and that's
we witnessed.
And that's mad, because me and you were just having that conversation out there on the couch. I was telling you about the workshop I was at, and I was staring in someone's eyes and you check what you're feeling. So you were now saying that you'd done that, and then you kept wanting to look down, but she was like, no, it's all about the connection. That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very powerful. And
Brilliant.
then even I play like on a Sunday morning, I play soccer, but it's like a semi-non-contact soccer. So the emphasis is on people are just there for the crack, a bit of fun, and not to be going in and really hard and injuring somebody.
Like the way you do open catches.
Yeah.
Right now I'm fucking milling into people. Anyway, we won't talk about that's for another podcast.
So, but it's still very competitive. But like the same again, there was one of the days there recently on a Sunday morning, I was just overcome with gratitude for the organiser. I was like, gosh, this guy has created this space where you can do this thing, and I was just overcome with emotion for him for creating that space. So these kind of local heroes for me,
Yeah, but look here, I might say to you, the day me and you had a coffee in Dundrum and you told me that story and the conversation we had, that fucking inspired me. I was bouncing driving home thinking about that conversation, thinking about the stuff that you're doing, about my own life. So that kind of inspired me. Those little conversations, coffee shop conversations, are really inspirational. It doesn't have to be fucking grandiose, so people climbing Everest or achieving whatever, huge fucking awards and accolades. It's these little conversations, the fact that you're doing what you're doing from your place in Rathcoole, you're saying, oh no, the world is so accessible, it's so inspirational.
I know, it's crazy.
It's fucking deadly.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given in your life, or what kind of advice have you been given that's been beneficial to you?
Advice.
Words of wisdom, advice.
Good question. Words of wisdom, advice. What comes to mind is my own self-belief. It's not somebody else. I've had a strong and still have a strong self-belief. Like I know when I know that there's something there. Like when
So you're saying self-talk. Self-talk, self-belief, self-confidence.
Yeah. So that's not to say I haven't got great advice from people over the years. It's just nothing coming to mind. I'm quite a private person, and up till very recently, I worked on my own. I worked this business, Pop Icons. I've done that myself for the last 10 years on my own, 100% on my own. So I make better decisions, I find, on my own. And if I involve another person too early in the thinking process, I get muddled and I can't get to the place I know I need to get to.
Wow.
So yeah, it's beyond self belief. You know, despite other people, it'd be more. It's not. It'd be kind of the opposite to what you're asking. It's not words of wisdom that I've received from people. It's more lack of support, lack of words of wisdom. Like my dad, it was weird. Like my dad, like he was into collecting and all, but I'd go down to my dad, and he never he was a collector. So he, if any player person in the world to understand that I was the guy, that who was finding this. I'm the guy that's on the Antiques Roadshow who has the gem. I'm that guy. And my dad never really got excited. He didn't seem to get it. So I'd be telling him that I had this big sale, and he'd be like, "Oh, well done, son, well done." But it didn't feel like it really. Oh, well done, man. you did what? You can't. Oh, well done. Come here, son. You know, give me a hug. Or there was something missing from it. So it was kind of like I'm just so grateful that I have. There's these things that I have in me that are innate. I didn't create them. They're there. Self-belief and all different gems, and they're just there. Like, that's not to say like it wasn't my parents who helped them along.
Didn't nurture them,
yeah,
instill them in you, but you do have them there anyway.
They are there, and I don't have a very clear understanding of how they came about. I'm sure for sure my parents had something to do with it, and so did my life experience. But it was more a case of sometimes I had freedom at times, but I felt probably a little lack of support. But I had that support within myself and self-belief.
Savage.
Yeah.
You just touched on earlier doing the psychotherapy. Outside Pop Icon, what other kind of stuff are you doing? I know you do workshops, you've travelled away. Can you share some of that? Because I think that's kind of fundamental to what you do and your self-belief and that core being of you. What kind of other stuff are you doing or have you done? You want to share with us?
Yeah, well I do a lot of different therapies, quite intense therapy. So I go away for like 7-day therapeutic, it's not a retreat. Retreat sounds like you're kind of sitting back relaxing.
Yeah, I'm going on Thursday.
Yeah, like
so. Back rub. I know what retreat you're going on.
So like I suppose like what I'm, first of all, like to kind of get a bit broader about it, would be everything's on the table, in the sense that I can't be, now the stage where I'm at is I can't be doing one thing over here and like, say for instance I want to have peace of mind and just feel a sense of peace. Well, I can't, I have to approach everything in my life. I can't kind of say be wheeling and dealing in a particular way that isn't congruent to having peace of mind.
Of course.
Yeah, over here I'm going to do these therapies or doing meditations, and why can't I get the peace of mind I'm looking for? Is because everything isn't on the table. Everything has to be on the table.
And they have to be aligned.
And have to be aligned.
You can't be up doing lines of coke and then in the church praying to Jesus on Sunday morning. They don't just work.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's something I'm quite conscious of now, thankfully. But it took a long time to get there, because I would have held on to ways of doing behaviours and perspectives on things, and it takes some time to understand what they are, see them for what they are, and possibly let go. And the let go can be hard because it could be attached to security and the fear of, well, if I don't do it this way, I might lose out on everything. But then what I find is if I let go, there's actually abundance. There's abundance. Yeah, like, and it happens like in mad ways. Like I was on the phone to a guy there a couple of weeks ago in New York, and I was talking about some guitars, and I know you've asked about more therapeutic stuff, but this is kind of tied in a bit. And we're chatting on the
Synchronicity.
phone, and I was saying to him that, I said, here, I have a Jimmy Page guitar from Led Zeppelin, and his guitars are literally like gold dust. there's none of them on the market, and I have probably the only one, that's in public hands. And I said to him, have this guitar, and he was like, oh yeah, we want to sell that guitar for you. So I said I'll have a think about it. So then I put down the phone, went onto the internet, and within 10 minutes I'd found another Jimmy Page guitar, like just like that. And I bought that second guitar, so I have the two Jimmy Page guitars now that are available in the world. I was like, that's weird how I was talking with the guy, and then I went off and had a look on the internet, and I don't see it as a coincidence. I don't know what it is, but there's something there.
Me and our mate Doyle, we have this conversation all the time. The collective unconscious. I believe in it. I think we're all linked, and the stuff that we look at and we bring into our consciousness, it happens. You know what I mean? Like when you're saying, oh, I wonder what that fella did that I used to go to school with. 2 minutes later you get off a bus and you bump into him. What's all that about? Do you know what I mean? And as we talked earlier, your thoughts become your reality.
Yeah.
I think I believe in the collective unconsciousness,
Yeah, that sounds like
a plausible one.
Plausible concept. Yeah.
Our mate Toy Glooby doesn't believe me on that one. We have our arguments about that.
Well, then the question that I'd be kind of to take it a bit further, then I'd be thinking, why is that happening then to me? Like, why am I getting this other guitar that I can sell for X amount of money? Because I was only thinking the other day, why am I getting this kind of abundance of resources? And what can I do with those resources? Instead of just continuing buying memorabilia, what can I do? I can do something with these resources, something else. So it's this kind of question of, why have I got these resources? I wonder why.
The universe is giving you what you asked for.
Yeah.
Because your stars are aligning, your life is aligning, It's like me practicing Buddhism, practicing love and kindness, and sending people ratty text messages. You don't come together, and it's only then when
Is that what you do?
Not today, other days. No, but I used to have to check myself. A long time ago I'd be trying to practice love and kindness, but then I'd be getting scalded with people, judging people in my mind.
Yeah.
Now, how could I say that I practice love and kindness if I'm being like an asshole 10 minutes later? So I had to start bringing my stars in a line, my practices with my intentions, and then I start reaping the rewards of abundance. I see love and kindness all around me. I'm less scorpy with people. Love and kindness comes at me. People are more gentle and more nice to me. I don't meet, like my mate saying to me when I come up, but be careful, blah blah blah. I said, I don't attract trouble, And since I started practicing love and kindness and I brought my intentions aligned with my behaviours, I reap the rewards in abundance. I wish I got a guitar that's worth a couple of million. That would be more abundance for me. I'll have to start working on that. Come here. What words of wisdom would you give to your smaller self or your little self?
You asked me originally about other stuff that I do, and I was just away in Italy, and I did a process called primal therapy. And in a nutshell, that was the focus of that therapy was focusing on my younger self. Another word would be your inner child.
Yeah, your little self.
I'm a bit reluctant to use that term because it sounds a bit like hippie or something.
I say it all the time. I believe in the transaction analysis, adult, child, parent, and we bounce between the three of them. So I do think there's a little self in there.
Yeah, so that's what the focus is on, my inner child, so my younger self, and my parents, my mother and my father, and so I went through this process of identifying my parents. I was in a group of people, so it was group therapy over in Italy for 7 days, 24/7, no phone, no internet. It was 100% focus on what we were doing, complete dedication, and so we're identifying negative traits of our mother and father. And what was your question?
The original was the courses that you were doing, and then we moved into what advice would you give to your little self?
So what advice would I give to my younger self? What advice would I give to my younger self? I don't don't think my younger self, gosh, I suppose it will be whatever contracts I made when I was young, whatever, like I made these contracts, I remember I did this retreat over in London, and we did this meditation, a movement meditation, and I went into this meditation feeling genuinely like nothing's gonna happen here. I'll just go with the flow, it'll be over, and we move on to the next thing. Genuinely thought that, and so we're moving for like an hour or so, music's playing, and kind of shaking things up, and then we lay down on a mattress on the floor, each person did, and I was lying down, and then next of all I had this moment of clarity where I recall that when I was a child, I had made a contract to keep everything inside, to keep everything in, my emotions, my expressions, and not to let them out, not to give anybody else the pleasure of seeing, like, say in my family environment, if someone, not to let them see that they've got to me or something like that. So I kept everything inside, even to my own detriment, when I didn't want to.
But you made a
And I
contract.
got this really good at it. And I realised in that moment, when I was in London lying down, I was like, I made a contract with my younger self, but I'm a man now, I'm an adult, and I don't need to live by that contract that my younger self made. And I just felt this, this massive weight lifted off me, and I started to get a bit emotional. And then somebody came over to support me. I had my eyes closed, I didn't see who it was, but they put their hand on me just as a show of support, some human contact. And then I stopped, because I couldn't let that support, I wasn't used to getting support in those moments, or it's been a long time since I experienced it. And then I had to tell myself, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to let that person's love in, because it was love, shared love. And then once I did that, I could get back to where I was with me younger self and that contract that I made, and I let the emotion out, I let go, and I swear to God, I left that session, I felt like I had just been reborn. Like I just felt like brand new, and we went out to get some coffee, and I just felt like on top of the fucking world.
Deadly.
And I was like so aware of it. I was like, oh man, it was just amazing. It was amazing. And then within 24 bloody hours, the next day we did this breathing exercise, and I'd never done one before, and I had the most awful. I had like the yin and yang. I had the worst experience in my life the following day with this breathing exercise that I did. So that high that I had from the day before, the natural high, was gone the next day.
I should look, but what did you say? What goes up must come down.
Yeah. So it's fascinating.
Deadly.
Fascinating.
That's fucking mad. Deadly. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for sharing your vulnerability about the love and the contract. It's not easy to do that. I believe there's two emotions, and like real ones, love and fear. Usually everything we don't, we suppress is generally out of fear. The antidote to that is always love. Love brings peace, abundance, blah blah blah. Fear usually prevents us from doing so much. So thanks for revealing that to me.
No problem.
My next question is, what's your why in life now?
My why in life now. My why. What's my why in life?
We could go deep. What's your why? Why do you do what you do? What's your purpose in life? What's mine's?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, since I did that primal therapy in Italy, I feel like an underlying tension is gone. Though my partner might say differently, but I do feel like an underlying tension is gone over the last 4 weeks that I used to be carrying around with me.
Can I say I've met you a good few times now?
Yeah.
And I pick up on energy. Since I met you tonight and today, there's a different energy about you.
Okay, yeah.
I can feel that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yeah. And I had a couple of instances of last few weeks where things have happened that I know usually would roll me up on the inside, and they didn't. They didn't do anything. They just didn't have any effect, and I just could get on with whatever it was I was doing. I was like, oh, that's different, you know. So my why in life at the moment is these things change every day. It's mad.
Yeah.
You know, like I started watching Star Trek Next Generation recently, and I just realised that like I never gave the universe much thought, like the stars and the solar system, and I just felt like this feeling of fascination. I was like, God, it's fascinating, the universe, and that tension that I had was getting in the way of the joy of life, like in general, you know, being excited about things.
Yeah.
So the why, I was only questioning today. I was kind of like, I've been watching these programs about the creation of solar systems and the universe, and then planet Earth, like, is just a speck of dust, but we seem to be the only planet with life on it. And then the programs I watched were like, it was like this kind of semi-random events happening, all this gas and rocks in space colliding together. It seems quite random. But then I'm walking through town today, and I'm thinking of my body, and you know, my ribs and my heart, and I was like, they don't seem random at all. Like, there's no way they're random. And then I was sitting with my cat in my lap earlier, and I was looking at my cat, and I was like, no way my cat's random. It can't be just like this. Why would something random create so many different species? So like the why, I don't know, if I could answer the why, I'd be Albert Einstein or something. But I'm questioning the why.
Your way in life.
Yeah, I'm questioning it. But it's exciting. It's exciting. Very exciting.
Debbie.
Yeah.
What's the best gift you've ever been given or you've received in life?
I was thinking about that today while I was going jogging this morning. I asked myself, what's the best gift I've been given, and the answer that came up was courage. Courage. Am I saying that word correctly? It sounds like it's not coming out properly. Courage. And then I was asking myself, why courage? Why not will? I was like, yeah, will is really important. Have the will to live is important. But sometimes like will will only get you so far, and then courage is required.
So life has given you courage as a gift.
Yeah, I have courage as being a gift, like, and I can pinpoint those moments where there was a pivot, and I could have went one way or the other, and it was courage that made the difference, you know. So, yeah.
Sounds good to me. I like it.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to give me a Christmas present, give me some courage.
Some courage, please.
Some grow a pair of Lee Roadies. This is a question that Andrew, that works in the podcast right now, he threw at me about minding ourselves for the silly season Christmas. How do people go about minding their little self coming up to Christmas? What would your top tips be to someone? All your wisdoms, your training, your primal fucking training.
Tips, yeah.
So what would you, how do we mind our little self at Christmas?
Okay, well, first of all, I only learned the seasons like a couple of years ago, in the order of them, and still sometimes I forget. So I'm not very, Christmas for me wouldn't be like something I'd only have general wisdom. It's not associated with a particular month of the year. So for me, like, it's what I call the fundamentals is exercise, bit of exercise, a light jog even, you know, sleep, 8 hours sleep if that's what you need, that's what I need, food, socialising, those 4 things are key. If I don't do a bit of exercise, if I don't eat, if I don't get enough sleep, if I don't socialise, if I'm on my own too much, they're the foundations of my life, and then things start to fall apart, and I kind of get grumpy or angry, and it's usually because I'm not looking after one of those areas. So Christmas or not, if you're doing,
stick to the basics.
Stick to the basics, yeah.
Absolutely. Sleep, exercise, nutrition, human connection.
Yeah.
Can't really go wrong with that.
No, if you got
Whether it's
going.
January or December or whether it's a sunny day in July,
Yeah.
stick to them, the fundamentals.
Yeah, they were my top tips.
There you go. He'll be on TV3 giving out your tips next week.
It sounds like it's that kind of thing, isn't it? You're reading a newspaper.
Come here, I really appreciate the time and the knowledge you have to give me. So let's end with, what's the one thing you would like people to take away after listening to this interview? We're after going spiritual, financial, Michael Jackson, superstars. It'd be hard to pin down some, but what would you like people to take away after listening to your interview?
So I suppose self-belief and courage would be the two things, you know, to believe in yourself, despite other people, you know, if that's the case. That sounds negative, but you know what I mean, like, you know.
How do you build that though? You know, people say, yeah, self-belief, how do you build it if you don't have it?
And
that comes from actions, I believe.
Self-belief.
Like, you have to take a risk, you have to do things to build momentum. Then when you achieve success, and would you agree with that maybe?
That's a good question, like, self-belief.
Trust yourself.
Yeah,
Genuinely, when I make a decision now, I go, I like the idea of that, I'm going to go with it, and I don't give a fuck if I balls up or I make a mistake. I'm just going to trust myself, I'm going to go for it.
But someone, you're kind of, if I was to say to you, but what do you mean by that? I don't get it. That's what you're going to ask me, and it's a hard one, because if you know what self-belief is, or courage, not that other people don't, but just for example, I believe I know what courage is because I've done X, Y and Z. I have these experiences which I can tick the box and say that was brave and courageous, so I know what that is. And I didn't orchestrate the events though, they just happened. But then the question is, for example, like in a particular situation, in a particular moment in time, what was it that made me do X instead of Y? You need more time to answer that question. Because I have some really good examples where I was very brave in a moment, but there's something happened previously to allow me to kind of it's like you have a skill and you're playing a football match and you do that skillful move, but you didn't just like
repetition. Yeah, it's a 1,000 hour rule, isn't there? Somewhere 10,000 hour rule. Yeah. The master skill. Look, as far as self-belief, I would have had self-belief growing up. I'd have fancied my chances at doing things, but I lost my way then. I lost my confidence through trauma, and I didn't believe me. I didn't have that inner belief, whether it be not through education, through trauma, and it took me a long time to gain that back, and that was only through doing.
Oh, okay.
Putting myself forward, going back into education with the fear of failure, and then do you know what, I done alright there, and now I join the dots looking back, as Steve Jobs would say. I look back now and go, fuck, I done 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 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 right, connect all these dots, and then let's just say, do you know what, I'll trust the future, because I can connect the dots looking back. So I think that's where you would build self-belief. Yeah.
Action, true action.
100%.
Yeah.
And taking that little, putting your foot in the pool and not be afraid to get wet once or twice and go, fuck, I'll just go for it.
Yeah.
And hop into the bigger pool one day.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's the thing. I suppose, like with me, say with education, because I didn't do my leaving cert, and didn't do any third level education. So, but over the years, like from like 1920 and onwards, in my 20s, I did courses, like I did FOSS courses and I did management courses, but there were all these steps towards now and doing a psychotherapy degree, but like there was loads of smaller courses, and each course I did was, I remember I went and my very first kind of education course was maths and English. I just went to do some maths and English or something like that, like leaving cert maths and English, but not to do so I'd sit the exam, just to try educate myself. Because I had no opinion at the time. I had no, I didn't feel like I had knowledge, so I was like trying to educate myself to get some just trying to educate myself. So the very basic courses, but each one I did was a step up from the last. So that would have given me self-belief. Yeah. Whereas if I had applied to Trinity College off the back, I would have been a shot down. It would have been so much.
I went to Inch. I done my leaving cert, failed miserably, and 20 years later I went to Inchi Core, and that was a little stepping stone. Handed in a Scaldi out assignment on communication, wrote up a letter with my name, and I was applying for accommodation, and that gave me so much pride because I didn't know how to even start a computer. So the only computer I had was when I was looking on datingireland.com down the computer shop or these cafes. That's the only computer knowledge I had. Then all of a sudden I had a laptop and I could open a Word document, and then all of a sudden but I couldn't have went and applied to Tala for a science degree. You know what I mean? It's about building that foundation, isn't it? And then it's looking back and connecting the dots to trust the future.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Look, here we are. Anything else you want to reveal? Anything fucking going on in the pipeline? Any business deals that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I suppose.
Any secrets?
At the moment, because I've been doing pop icons for 10 years now, and I feel like I have that now, and things are happening more easily, and it's lost its challenge. It's losing its challenge. Though it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it, but I feel like it doesn't take me much time, or not too much effort now. So I'm looking for a new challenge. So I have quite a big vision for another business. But it'll be over in the UK.
I remember you telling me about that.
So
that was exciting. That as well inspired me.
Yeah,
that's deadly.
So I've had a few meetings with people in London, and now it's a case.
Baby.
And this would be a step. It's that growth of it would require me to work with other people, where I've been working on my own for 10 years now. So I feel like I want to work with other people now and go on that journey. And the vision I have is quite exciting and involve other people, and it's like I'd be purely kind of going on it because why not? And it'd be nice to bring other people along the journey as well and have some fun.
I can see the growth and the progression in your life, and it's fantastic. Mind, body, and soul. You're looking after your mind, you're looking after your body. You're giving out health tips. You know what I mean? Your 4 daily tips. So look, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. Laurence, you're now a legend, pal.
Thanks, man. Nice one.
Thanks, bro.
Cheers.